I'm Bishop Darrell Watkins, and let's queer up politics. Pete Buttigieg's Trump criticism fuels fresh speculation about a 2028 presidential run. Out, former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg sharply criticized President Donald Trump during the Iowa Democratic Party's Liberty and Justice dinner on July 12th, delivering a speech that has intensified speculation about a possible 2028 presidential campaign. Speaking to Democrats, Buttigieg argued that economic opportunity in the United States is declining. He said, quote, "Right now, what's at stake is nothing less than the American dream. It is endangered," end quote. He also called for greater investment in healthcare and public education and urged higher taxes on wealthy individuals and large corporations, saying, quote, "It is not too much to ask that the wealthiest country in the world have the best healthcare in the world," end quote. Linking economic inequality to politics, Buttigieg said, quote, "The reason that so many things are wrong with our economic picture is that so many things are wrong with our political system. You can see it in the carnival of corruption that is Washington, D.C. today," end quote. Without naming specific policies, he criticized corporate influence, congressional stock trading, and foreign financial ties involving the president. He also said Democrats should offer a vision for how much better things could get. The Iowa event is the state Democratic Party's largest annual gathering and has historically attracted prominent national political figures. Buttigieg's recent appearances in early primary states, including New Hampshire, along with recent polling showing him among the leading potential Democratic contenders, have further fueled speculation about a 2028 White House bid. What I love about this, first of all, please run. Second of all, please win. But even before that, is that he consistently, as mayor, as political candidate, as secretary of transportation, that he has consistently been on message about a positive message, about what we can do, about our potential, about rising, like we have made mistakes, but we can learn from them if we'll talk about them. So he has been consistently on message and a positive message. And what I love about it right now is that we actually have a model. We have show and tell about how this can work, and it's the city of New York right now. So when we're talking about caring about people, so it's always, well, we don't want socialism. Okay, so don't have socialism. Can we help people? We want to help people. We don't have any money. We have all the money in the world to give tax breaks to billionaires and to bail out failed companies and to start any war we want, maybe 2 or 3 at a time. So it's not about money. It's about priorities. And so I'm glad that people, you got to play to the middle, and no. Why does not every person have access to medical care, no matter what their issue is? Why can people not live on their Social Security? Why do we have to fight for kids to have lunch in school? Like, this is just silly. This is just being good people, caring about people, and that is branded left or right, or that if you give a shit about people, you're a communist. How did we get this broken and this stupid? And if you haven't read Marx and Engels, please don't even say the word Marxism to me, because you sound stupid.
Oh my
You don't know what it is.
Thank you.
And I wish you would just quit saying that as a scare word when you don't even know what it means. We are not nearly Marxist. I am more Marxist than this country is, and I wouldn't be Marxist. But I am a social democrat or a democratic socialist.
Same.
I do think that I love these distinctions. Capitalists think everyone can be rich. Communists think no one should be rich. Socialists don't care if you're rich as long as no one gets left out.
Exactly.
You can be rich as long as nobody's poor. So that the Secretary Pete is sort of on that bandwagon, of course, way more conservatively phrased than I ever would. But, he's from the Midwest, whatever. But I love that about him. I love his message. And I think that this is a time where it might be heard in ways that it hadn't been heard before.
Yeah, I think, first of all, I don't think it's speculation. I think he's definitely running. And I think he would be the perfect foil to J.D. Vance, to same generation from the Midwest, Pete with a better beard, in my opinion. But their messaging, and originally, before he also shape-shifted, our vice president, he had some similar messaging, around economic messaging and his background of coming from, a poor background and how he grew up.
There are questions about that now, but
but I mean, he meaning like he was not as corporate as he has become under Donald Trump. So I think it'll be great to have. I think Pete Buttigieg, cerebral, doesn't miss. I mean, I've never even seen him stutter in an interview where JD Vance can barely form like two cohesive sentences that sound logical. I'm not saying JD Vance is not smart. He's obviously has, but I will say he is not a good public speaker and he is not a good messenger.
And that they're both presumably people of faith. I like that because it shows two different kinds of faith expressions, and one is sort of authentic, and the other is sort of performative and used to further political aims and
as a weapon.
And it's also like his third or fourth one, just like his names. So whatever his name and religion is this week, whereas Pete will be consistent because he's a consistent guy.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned his beard because I hope his facial hair gives Hegseth cause to lose sleep at night. I hope he's just rubbing his hands together. I hate beards. And by the way, Buttigieg would easily get my vote. I'm just not sure about how the rest of this hate-filled, homophobic country would take to his candidacy. That's the part that concerns me. It's not just the four of us at this table or others. This is a really big country, and there's a lot of homophobia out there.
You bring up a really good point because I was watching The View the other day and they were having a conversation about front runners for 2028. Identity is something that did come up, and I believe it was Joy Behar who brought up, I don't want correct. I hope I'm not wrong, Joy. I love you. I love The View. My mom always watches it. I'd watch it too. But I believe that Joy brought up sexuality may be a discouraging factor, but I still think he should run. I think of the 2028 potentials, and I hope they have a primary this time. Stop trying to choose the next president for us. Stop trying to choose the next Democratic nominee for us. I do believe Harris. I keep hearing Newsom. People want AOC, it's too soon, but Pete Buttigieg's name consistently comes up, but it's not just the Democrats that actually only like Pete. Independents really like Pete. And Pete also is willing to go into those right-wing spaces and have conversations. I've seen him go on podcasts with...
on Fox.
Exactly.
He's
to have a reasonable conversation with reasonable people, but he can do it.
Yeah, and he's better than me because as political as I am, I just do not feel like sitting down with or having debates with Republicans. That's just not my thing. I don't have the patience. But I appreciate that Pete understands that if he is going to be a part of the system, he has to be for all Americans. He's not just catering to and working for his own party.
And I do, look, I'm 59 years old, so I've, few elections I've seen. And I've heard my whole life, especially from the South, we're just not ready for a person of color. We're just not ready for a woman. Gays never even came up. And yet we've had a black president. We've had a Blasian woman vice president.
Yes.
A woman won the popular vote in 2016. If we didn't have the racist Confederate electoral college, we would have had a woman president.
And the non-voters.
So I wouldn't count out a gay candidate because we've already had a woman who won the popular vote, a woman who became vice president. We've had two people of color in that executive thing.
And Trump's kind of gay.
It's an uphill battle. It's carrying water uphill, but it's not the just radical impossibility that would have been a decade ago.
Right.
No, and I also think that the reason that I think he would be a great candidate has nothing to do with him being LGBTQ. Like, I mean, if he was not, and he was just a cisgender straight man, I would still want to vote for him.
He's strong on communication and messaging.
Strong.
Yes.
And if you look at that field that you've mentioned, he doesn't have the East Coast, West Coast baggage of issues that a lot of those candidates do have.
I did not think about that.
Indiana guy.
Comes from the center of the country, and I think there's a lot of possibility for him. A lot, I think being LGBTQ is just, again, it's not going to be front and center of his campaign because it shouldn't be.
Right.
That's not what the country is about. Yes, but we know obviously he's in our court, but it is not going. I think he's not an identity politics person.
No.
at all.
Yeah.
So
And for that kind of battle, we actually need allies. Because if he does too much of it, it's self-serving, they will say. So this is where the allies can really step up. And there's a difference between allies and fans. People who are like, oh yeah, I love Pose or whatever, oh, appreciate you. But allies are getting, when the
was a
rocks are being
bar.
thrown, allies are in danger of getting hit too. And we do have some really famous, amazing allies. So he, of course, he's not going to abandon us. But for that really in-your-face activism stuff, we need the allies if we have a president.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, anything he says to people, like, well, yeah, because that's your people. So allies need to step up. And if they do, I think that helps a lot. Well, there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.